If I were to ask you, who are you? What would your answer be? Is it the I that thinks and has ideas and beliefs and preferences and identities? Or is it the I that is a witness and an observer of all that chatter? Now, this was a concept I myself couldn't understand for many years. And looking back on it now, I think a really great starting point is to even be able to identify experientially, going inward, that there is in fact simply the mind that talks and some entirely separate force or being or presence behind that is simply observing. Grasping that is, I think, a great starting point, and already a starting point of transformation, by the way, because we start to create that little bit of space and start to build experiential understanding that, in fact, there is spaciousness that exists between the mind chatter and whatever this being behind it might be. Now, why does that spaciousness even matter at all? That we have this spaciousness between the mind that speaks and the observer behind it? Well, it's because we can start to then create some detachment. And you can feel this in your very body even. Like, even take yourself inward right now. Play with your energy and see what it feels like. Even play it out in your body. Like, really grasp and attach and grip and see what that feels like experientially. And then let it go. Ungrip your hands. Let your shoulders down. Take a breath and feel that expanding. And feel what that even tiny bit of space there feels like. Well, if we can bring that spaciousness between the deeper thing, whatever we want to call it, our deepest essence, presence, our truest self, whatever words work for you. But if we bring that detachment between that being and the mind, we start creating space to no longer be guided by the mind, which is highly programmable for all of us for a really great reason. But we don't want to go on automations anymore, right? We want to go into some intentionality and creatorship. And so when I talk about this spaciousness, this is the benefit that we have to creating that detachment in that space between the I that thinks and the I that observes. Now, there is a point in time in kind of the development of this particular practice where you feel like what you're observing is a total train wreck. Okay, we all have different energetics running in our systems and different patterns and behaviors that play out and different like points that like when touched bring out some sometimes gnarly behaviors and reactions. And it's a total normal, albeit quite frustrating and sometimes painful part of the process to just watch yourself kind of on the ride. And the metaphor that I really use, because it made a lot of sense in me understanding it in myself, is like if you saw your system, your whole energetic system, right, as an amusement park. And there's like small little like roller coasters, and there's like the fucking drop zone, and there's, I don't even remember the names of those like really intense roller coasters in Wonderland in Toronto, but you have some that kind of like spin you around and like throw you around, and just like all these different rides happening in your system. And it's like when you touch that particular part, I really see it as like going on a ride. You're really going on an energetic ride. And it's like there's been enough observation there that you have the awareness to see like what's happening. Like maybe I'm going unconscious right now. I am playing out a pattern, but you catch it really like a bit too late where you're on the ride now. You're not getting off the roller coaster when you're at the top waiting to drop down. The system will ride itself out and you'll get off at the end. And maybe this is where you come back into body. This is where you come back into awareness and you can clean up what you need to clean up, right? You can name what you experienced. You can, be responsible for yourself where you need to be responsible for yourself. And there is this point of development where you might be going on these rides for some time before the amount of space that is created is large enough that you actually now catch it the second before you go on the ride. And there is your space of like interference where now you get to make an intentional choice. And it's a part of the process that we really need a lot of like compassion and self-love and really just acceptance for what it is. It may be a shit behavior. It may be a shit feeling. You may not like the sensations of it, whatever it is. But that just is what it is right now, right? My teacher has this saying, which is like, you will run a pattern until you're done running the pattern. And that's really how I've experienced it as well. And having at least this like map or having this explained to you that this is a normal part of the process, I hope it did for me, will help you land yourself somewhere on the map and know, okay, like this is what I'm experiencing, and I just like keep showing up to my practice and keep working on this space and working on bringing consciousness into these spots more and more.